you can change your past. But the reason why we don't talk about how to change our past is because learning about how our past is constructed and how our past operates in our lives is going to trigger a lot of people. So if you're easily triggered, you've been warned. Your past is always open for revision and rewriting because memory is a function of present intention. Let me repeat that. Your past is always open for revision and rewriting because it is a story. Your whole life is a story. It's open for revision and rewriting because memory is a function of present intention. What does that mean? Your past is a storehouse of experiences, of moments, of sensations. Your memory is a function of present intention, meaning you use your memory to extract from the past what is needed in the present. What is needed in the present and in the future? What does determine what is needed in the present and in the future? Your current attitude towards your life, towards life as a whole, towards the story of your life. So based on your attitude towards yourself, your life, life as a whole, story of your life, based on that attitude, you extract what you need from your past. That's how your memory functions. That's how you're constructing the story of your life. That's how you're constructing your past. Your past is not as fixed as you were taught to believe. So let me repeat it once again. Hopefully now it makes full sense. Your past is always open for revision and rewriting because your memory is a function of present intention. It is in the present. In the present, your positioning in the present, your attitude in the present, your stance in the present that determines what you're going to extract from the past. Your past, your history is always constructed to prove some point. Because you might say, well, I want to have a less painful past, but it's too painful. I'm not here to negate anyone's trauma. But I'm here to say that your past, everyone's past, is always constructed to prove some point. So maybe it's time for you to ask yourself the question, are you actively seeking to confirm your fears, to confirm everything negative that you've been taught about life, about the world? And when I say negative, I don't suggest that the opposite of it. I don't suggest that the solution for this is, false positive thinking, world is sunshine and rainbows. No. But let's take, for example, a person who's been hurt by a romantic partner in the past. That person is highly likely to be trying to constantly prove that the next heartbreak is right around the corner. Is constantly trying to prove that the previous heartbreak is a final judgment of romantic love as something painful and unstable. So their attitude in the present moment and their orientation towards their life at present and their life in the future influences what they extract from the past. Then what they extract from the past influences how they see the present and the future. And it can either be a vicious cycle or it can be an empowering, encouraging cycle. I'm not even going to suggest the overly positive, beautiful, cheerful, and naively optimistic cycle. I'm not going to suggest that. But there is in your life story, there is a empowering, encouraging, strong attitude to be extracted. There absolutely is. And that can act as a strong opposition to the vicious cycle of victimhood, of being doomed to failure, of being condemned to be hurt over and over and over again. Whatever has happened in the past, no matter how painful, it can be integrated into your life story and made a part of a coherent story. That doesn't make it less painful. Maybe for some people it does, but I would never suggest it becoming less painful. But it can definitely become more meaningful. Because if it becomes a necessary part of a coherent story, a story that you have an empowering attitude towards, then it's at least meaningful. Once again, your past, your history is constructed to prove a point. What are you trying to prove? There are people right now listening to this, and people all over the world, around all of us, and some of you listening to this, as I said, who are unaware that they're trying to prove that life is unfair. They're trying to prove that real love cannot be found. They're trying to prove that they deserve to be hurt. They are trying to prove that they are not worthy of people's support, respect, affection. They're trying to prove that it's just their type of luck to be constantly involved in relationships with dishonest people. They're trying to prove that their life is supposed to be a tragedy. Again, most of them are unaware of it, but they're trying to prove so. Why? Because that's the narrative. At some point, they picked up that narrative. And no matter how painful that narrative is, at least it's familiar. At least it's familiar. And we love familiarity. All, I'm ready to accept all, just don't push me into the unknown and into the new. So let me embrace this painful, sad, discouraging, but familiar narrative. So there are people out there, so many people, just trying to prove a narrative, no matter how unhealthy and self-destructive it is, just because it's familiar. And how are they trying to prove it? By extracting from the past all of what confirms that narrative and trying to identify in the present all that confirms that narrative. And then we flip it and we say, your past is always open for revision and rewriting, because memory is a function of present intention. And then we understand, okay, if I change the attitude towards myself, my life story, and life as a whole, perhaps, if I change my attitude into one of engagement, commitment to growth, commitment to healing, commitment to facing challenges, commitment to rewriting my narrative into a more courageous and empowering story. If I do that, then by necessity, I'm extracting from my past a different story. The past still consists of same experiences and sensations, but I'm extracting from them in a different way. I'm extracting insights and lessons and memories from them in a different way because of my present attitude being changed. So yeah, friends, as I said, this can trigger some people because there are a lot of people out there with extremely painful pasts, and there is a lot of people out there who are trying to confirm their self-defeating, self-destructive, maybe victimhood-based story of the past. They're trying to prove it. They're trying to prove it by extracting confirmations of that narrative from the past and identifying confirmations of that narrative in the present. And they might be triggered by this. If you're one of those people listening to this right now, I will just say one more time, I'm not negating what you've gone through. I'm not disregarding the pain that you've been through. But there is another way. And you can rewrite the story of your life. And for those of you who are not triggered, those of you who are hopefully encouraged by this, the same goes to you. You can rewrite the story of your life. And all that you need for rewriting the story of your life is to, when this video ends, sit with yourself, put away all distractions for at least a couple of minutes, and have an honest conversation with yourself about your present attitude towards yourself and your life and the story of your life. And make a passionate commitment towards a more empowering attitude, passionate commitment towards creating a more empowering, encouraging, life-affirming story. Thank you. Stay strong, love life, never feel sorry for yourself, and always keep writing and rewriting the story of your life.